But anyway, like to talk about some other stuff. Have been enjoying a few board games. There was
Tell me.
If people are familiar with BGG, the Board Game Geek website, there was a gentleman who came to Portugal to retire 2 weeks ago, and he came to a few sessions with us. He has a lot of cool games and a lot of stuff I want to try out. And can I just live like? Is there a job where I can just play board games and review them?
Just review them.
But I have to do my own job. How do we monetize that, Sev? When are we gonna make T-shirts for? I want a T-shirt with Gyrus. Come on,
Gyrus.
Make a T-shirt. I don't know. I do have. No, not the Gyrus. Not the Gyrus. I want. You remember the one I want? The one with the long strider.
Oh, Callan, you want that? Yeah. I could get you that T-shirt, no problem. I can make it.
we got a 999 games always needs board game testers. So I'm gonna check that out.
But
Netherlands?
Yeah, King is he's a Dutch. He's a Netherese boy. But yeah, I was gonna say that there's like so many YouTube channels, which is a bunch of people playing and reviewing board games like from their basement, and they make they have a certain level of production where like they get good lighting, good cameras, and they do good editing. And part of their channel is always about introducing new board games, and then the other part of their channel is playing those board games with a group of friends. And you can do all of that but instead of being in your garage, you can like have a store, like a geek store, where you sell merch, and you like. I have one of these in Port, where basically the upper floor is you sell merch, Magic the Gatherings. It's always the main bread and butter. Then you have the Dungeons and Dragons and all that, and then a bajillion other board games and a Warhammer 4K. And then on the bottom level, they have this huge room which is basically full of nerds playing all the time, all their other board games and tournaments and all that shit.
So board game shop. I have been actually trying to figure something out. Well, I guess this is Portugal specific, but what I don't know what the English word is. It's not pawned. It's like when the bank takes a house and then resells it. I forgot. Is it repurposing? No. Something like that.
But I know what you mean. It's like a punhurado, but yeah, it's not pawned.
Yeah. I don't know the word. Anyway, I've been looking at the shop. It's like 30 square meters next to middle school. I thought, man, that would be a good place to have like a board game shop.
Oh, yeah, that is a good place.
But I mean, 30 square meters is not that much, and I don't know how much interest there is for board games.
Dude, King just said it. I think their board games are taking off, and even King said there's 2 board game shops in my area. So, and King says
you only play Settlers of Catan and Monopoly.
Oh, what
King of Pain. I will never play board games with you. I
you basic bitch.
Both of those games. I boycott both of those games. I will never play any of them.
Yeah,
unless I'm forced to.
It's always fun when I speak with someone, because I also have like this board game collection in my home. And when I introduce someone to my domain, is like, "Oh, do you like board games?" And the person always answers, "Oh, yeah, I like Monopoly." Oh. Like, dude, no, you don't know what a board game is. Come, let me show you the light. And then I hold that person's hand, and I walk into Narnia, into the Narnia of potentials and love.
Do you have a lot of board games? Do you have like
I have
a shelf?
I have yeah, I do. Like, I mean, without counting chess and Chongke, which is the Chinese equivalent, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 board games, which is and also Magic the Gathering and shit. Oh yeah, and other card games. So I probably have like around like 12 or 13 games.
Oh, that's pretty good. I'm looking at my shelf right now. I think that's pretty much what I have with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, about 12 as well. And I have like 13, 14 that I want to get rid of because I don't like them. At least, for the group I have, I don't like them. Like, there's some games I would like to play more. I really enjoy playing campaign games, but it's so difficult.
Yeah, getting a group of people to do that is so fucking hard.
And King says, in his defense, he got D&D ruined by min-maxing Munchkins. The thing is, I tried D&D 3 times. I never liked it. So
you animals.
But the thing is, I'm a visual person. I need something pretty to look at. Like, all this theater of mind bullshit is not for me, okay? My imagination sucks. My imagination works best when I'm sleeping, and I'm like, oh, that is a nice dream. I wish I could just stream this to other people, like, oh, this is the dream I had. How do you like this, Seb?
In your defense, I do have the opinion that Dungeons & Dragons is doing a great job. Like, Dungeons & Dragons was super popular in the 80s. Then it kind of dwindled. and now it got a resurgence because of like mostly TV shows. And I think during that resurgence, Dungeons and Dragons also was at the same time that they released a very streamlined version of the rules. It was the new edition, 5e edition, and that was it's pretty simple, but at the same time it's super vague. So what is happening right now is that now that more and more people are getting into Dungeons and Dragons, they start to realize that this really is that there are basically very, very few rules, and it's very about talking, and you spend 4 hours just to go through a campaign where basically you're doing the first RPG mission of killing rats, but instead of doing it in 10 minutes, you're doing it in 4 hours. And people are losing their luster over it just because it takes so long because the rules are so vague.
Yeah, well.
I've been making the campaign, and people who watch my streams know this, that I wanted to make a Dungeons and Dragons campaign where
as a
DM because no one will. I'm the only DM that I know because I'd love to play it as an actual player. But I wanted to make this campaign, which is it has the mythos of a Dungeons and Dragons. It has a lot of the same terminology, but without all that fluff and it's more strict in terms of rules, and it's also does off with a lot of shit that is absolutely unnecessary. So, like for example, in Dungeons and Dragons, you have 4 types of coins. So you have gold, platinum, silver, and copper. And they're all like, if you want to buy a sword, it's 1 gold, 30 silver, 2 copper. And you have to do this economy shit. It's so boring. No, I do without all that shit.
1,000 copper, whatever.
Yeah. Then you also you have encumbrance rules in Dungeons and Dragons, where basically you have to manage the weight of each item, and you feel like, okay, that shouldn't be too bad. But at the same time, Dungeons and Dragons is one of those games where everything can be an item. You can pick up a pebble and it counts for your encumbrance, and all that shit is, ooh boy, God, fuck me, God damn it, son of a. I keep failing the same jump on my game. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess it is kind of tries to be realistic, but.
Sometimes it's too realistic. I do like the gamey aspect of board games. Sometimes when you feel like, oh, you could do anything. I don't want to do anything. I don't want infinite possibilities. I want a well-structured game.
Right. Yeah, I feel the same. It's like I enjoy. People play games for different reasons, right? They have different motivations. I found out that I enjoy the exploration part of games. So there are games like once I feel I figured it out, I just don't enjoy it anymore, probably. That's why I like campaign games, because campaign games, it's discovering a story. And also TV shows, I don't think there's ever a TV show that I watched again, from start to finish. I was thinking I should watch Arcane again, but then I'm like, nah, it's okay. Maybe someday. No,
Arcane?
Okay.
Yeah. Arcane, but you don't rewatch TV shows, that's what you said?
Yeah, so what I'm saying is I like discovering stuff. So once I'm done with something, I just move on, and that's for board games, and that's kind of for TV shows as well. I don't really rewatch stuff. Movies, I have rewatched movies though, which is strange. Why have I rewatched movies? Maybe it's just too much investment in my mind.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
It's about the investment time, exactly, and then it also comes down to what King just said. It's also the zeitgeist of the moment. People get bored super fast nowadays, and I do think that is. Oh shit! That is part of the problem, is that the attention span for audiences is reduced to 30 minutes to at maximum an hour. And some board games, when you say that a board game, not just Dungeons and Dragons, most board games I think reach that 1 hour mark. Some people just don't have the patience for that. It takes too long.
Well, it depends what's happening in the game. I don't know if people are not familiar with the game. It's different. There is a game called Dune. It's for 6 players, and generally games with a lot of people, it's pretty slow. That was we took 5 hours to play that game, and there wasn't much happening. Honestly, it's you're pretty much sitting waiting for people to do stuff. But in that game, I felt the waiting was kind of engaging because people were doing things, and even though I wasn't interacting with it, I was kind of, okay, that's what's happening, and I was thinking ahead. Now, what will I do next? Okay, what does that mean for me? What should I do? But there are some games where you literally just wait for your turn. You don't really need the other people. And that's, I think it's a very difficult thing to balance. Like I have a game here that I really like, and I played it last Thursday. It's called Call to Adventure. It's pretty much a game like you collect some cards and you tell a story for a character. One reviewer, which is what's his name? It's Dice Tower Games. He's really famous. I forgot his name. He reviewed this game and he said, I think this is a great game if you need like a backstory for your character, like for Dungeons and Dragons. And you can play this game and then you have a backstory, because that's what the game is. You collect a story. You have like the origin, you have your motivation, and you have a destiny. And then you collect some cards that tell a story. And at the end of the game, my favorite part is, well, you win if you have the most points. But you have a story to tell, like, oh, I started as a farmer and then my village was attacked or whatever. So I think that's very interesting, very engaging. But in this game, if you play with 4 players, which is the max, it's so slow. You're just waiting for the other person, and it changes so little. I mean, there is a change, but it is so little. It's like, okay, one option is removed for every player that plays before you, because you have like 5 cards to choose from, and then one player plays, one is removed, and just waiting. It took 2 hours. It was, oh my god, just kill me now.
Yeah, there's a lot of. Also, I assume that game probably has a lot of text to read, because it has a lot of history. So just that, like, it's okay if a player. It's okay for players to have their turn, to wait for your turn. But when you have to wait for your turn to get a card that you then need to read, that consumes so much time. I do like games where you can think of your turn like in advance. So when it comes down to you already like have an idea of what you want to do. But yeah, that thing of when it reaches your turn, then you pick up a card and then you read it for the table, and everyone just sitting there. Oh, okay, that's nice. That's nice that happened to you. I guess I'll have to imagine what I would do if I was in your situation. But it does get super boring.
Yeah, and it's very hard to balance. I mean, I prefer the more difficult games that take a bit longer. Like if it's 3 hours, I think is like 2-3 hours is a good time. If it's a proper game that there's stuff happening, like changing throughout the game. And I played one game which is Spirit Island, which is very highly rated. Oh my god, that was a delight. It was so complex. It was kind of, I mean, some people
Spirit Island.
Spirit Island. Yeah.
Can you quickly describe the game?
So you're a bunch of spirits, and
makes sense. Are you you're on an island, I suppose?
So no, there is an island that there are people, the local people, and there are other, I guess.
That game is already contradictory. So you're a spirit, but you're not on an island, but the island has people. Then it should be called People Island, I suppose.
Wait. So you didn't let me finish. So there's an island, and it's invaded by like other people invading the local people, right? And you as a spirit, you help the people defend themselves against the invaders. So your goal is to, I forgot exactly what it's called in the game, but like you want to terrorize or something, or scare the people. You want to get rid of the invaders, pretty much. And there are different ways to do it.
Brexit game, okay. Brexit the game, okay, gotcha.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I mean there's and I like the theme of it is you have different peoples and English is one of them, I think. Like you can have the English invade the indigenous people. And anyway, like throughout the game you sometimes defend the people. Spirit's not on an island, but there are people on the island, the board game. Okay, King of Pain. Yeah, good description. Maybe I suck at describing the game, but anyway, I'll try. So like sometimes you defend the people, sometimes you scare the invaders, you get rid of them, you kill them, all this stuff. But it's a very complex game. There's a lot of things happening, and it's a full cooperative game.
Ah, nice. So that's also a thing that I really enjoy. I got tired of games that pits you against other people. I like cooperative more.
Mm-hmm. But in this game, like, I think it would be very difficult if you try to like speak about everything, plan everything. If people know like the pandemic, like it would be better if you plan everything and then do your actions. In this game, you kind of do your thing. You can arrange sometimes a few things, but it's just there's so many options, and there is some predictability. You know where the people are gonna come, where they're gonna invade. You have some in advance. You have some knowledge, so you can plan ahead a little bit. And it's such a delightful game. There's such a big complexity, but the base rules are, I wouldn't say they're easy, but they're fairly simple. And so I think that makes for a very good game, even though people take their turns pretty much simultaneously. You can choose in which order you do things.
Yeah, games that have a very well thought out learning curve is amazing. Like easy to grasp but hard to master. Oh, that is it's so hard to to achieve that perfect balance. But when you do, those are really good games.
Man, what about your board game? Aren't you making one? King of Pain wants to try it.
Yeah, but then I became a streamer after that.
Right, I forgot about that story. Right, that backstory.
And also, like, I'm using the concepts of you were right. I was making a board game which was Dungeons and Dragons inspired. It's like I said, I wanted to make Dungeons and Dragons fun again. So it was the Dungeons and Dragon thing, but simplified and streamlined so they could be played faster and more board game-esque and less role play-y. There's still a certain level of role play, but it's more. It gives the player more strict. It gives the player boundaries, basically. Because part of the reason why people sometimes are even afraid of playing Dungeons and Dragons is because as a gamer, you're used to playing games with invisible walls. You know the boundaries of the map. You know the rules of the game. So it makes it easier for you to play inside your sandbox. Dungeons and Dragons makes an effort to say there is no sandbox. The limit is only your imagination. And I want to undo that and put up the walls back again. And
you want a guided experience, right? The game is an experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So since I started streaming, I kind of put that on águas de bacalhau, as we say in Portuguese, which is to say I froze it. I placed it on a little box for later. But since I've been streaming, I have been talking about Dungeons and Dragons quite often, and a group of people, Martin included, our friend, wanted for me to play Dungeons and Dragons. So I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna make a campaign that is Dungeons and Dragons-esque, but with my homebrew rules, and see how it goes.
Right.
So I've been working on that, and next week I'm gonna play with them.
Oh, so you're gonna do is like an app or something that you use for?
I'm gonna use Google Sheets.
No, because I know for D&D there is I don't know if that would be useful for you. There is some.
I know. But those softwares, those software suffer from the same thing Dungeons and Dragons suffers from, which is the limitless potential. You can do whatever you want, dude. I don't want whatever I want. I want to do something fucking that I can pick up, and in 10 minutes I have a map that I can use. And I was like, okay, so let's take a look at our library. And then it has like 50 pages. I got the fucking Library of Alexandria over there of content. Look, we have a knoll. We have a knoll with an eye patch. We have a knoll with a tragic backstory. Does it visually look different? No, but it feels haunted. Fuck off. I just want a fucking monster that I can hit.
You can use what is it? Isn't like in vogue right now to have AI do stuff for you, make illustrations for you, and I don't know how that works, but it's like everyone's talking about that stuff.
Yeah, I actually.
AI won this contest for people, but it was an AI.
Dude, it looked awesome. Did you see that? Did you see the art that it made?
But it was kind of a little bit abstract. I don't know if we're talking about the same thing.
No, it is. It was abstract, but that was high art. That was high concept art in its finest. If I looked at that, I was like, oh, that is amazing. And apparently other people did as well because it won. But let me just find it again. AI art win contest for the viewers out there.
But it's
it is.
Do you remember when we were like talking? We should host an art contest, and then we judge it in real time. We could just and then we reward the people who win the contest. We can just have sabotage our own contest by putting AI art inside. Like, oh, this is actually the best. Look at
the
this.
AI won. But okay, this is the piece that won, and it's absolutely stunning. Now, if you look at the details, it is a bit like from afar. The piece looks awesome. But if you look at the details up close, especially like look at around this central figure. The central figure has a humanoid shape, but it doesn't really you can't really tell the definition of the arms. You can't really tell the position of the body. You can't tell if she's looking at you or away from you. I assume that she's looking away from you because it seems like the hair is like it cascades backwards. But the background detail around her is just this like rock texture that is meant to represent like buildings or something. It's all super vague. But it has this illusion and appeal of this the hints of Rembrandt van Rijn art style of painting. Yeah, it has very dark, very very cathedral-esque, very with strong shadows and a lot of draping and all that shit. It looks like something taken out of the 15th century, but with a concept style and sensibilities of modern art. It looks beautiful. And then
it has like some features that I really like, which is very kind of wide angly. And one thing that I really like, I have a painting here in the house, which is like some cheap stuff, like mass-produced stuff. But it has like, it's a painting of like a street in Venice or something. But what I really like is there's like a small street, and you only see what's at the end of the street partially, so it makes you like curious. It almost makes me want to turn my head and try to peek. And this has the same thing, like in the circle thing is like, oh, that's it's only showing something partially. What's there? I wonder. Can I look closer? Can I turn the picture a little bit? So I really like those aspects.
King is saying that it reminds him of a Stargate or a portal. Yeah, it does. But now, for example, looking through that portal in the central image, what is on the other side? I think it gives the illusion of a city, but because the AI can't really draw or can't really imagine like specifics, so it just kind of fills out with approximations. So it could be just a mountainscape, it could be a city, it could be it feels like it's a mountain city. It can be just a whole other, I don't even know, because the texture.
That's why it's so good, because people can put their own interpretation to it, right? And if you kind of ignore what's in the middle, it actually looks like it's a moon or something. Like it's just a moon with a scampy surface or whatever.
Now people are saying that this shouldn't win the art contest. It was a gimmick because this just stole art, because that's how these programs work. By the way, they don't actually create anything. They take from a huge library of millions of art pieces, and they get approximations of what is beautiful, what is like high rated by community, and they kind of mish and mash. They see styles and they mash them together. So what we're looking here is a copy paste of probably thousands of art pieces, which the robot did, I assume, in like 3 minutes of a render. And from what I understood, the person that created this program, because it was a person that created the program, and he, like, the part of the reason why I'm okay with this winning the contest is because the person had to create this. The person spent a week creating the program so that the program could create art in 10 minutes. So at the end I was like, you know what, it pretty much comes down to the same thing. If you take a week making a painting, or if you take a week making a program that makes paintings, you know what, it's the same thing to me. And this,
I don't know if I have an opinion on whether it should win or not. Like, if it was in our contest, like let's say we did the contest,
I'd say it's valid. It's valid because the work, to me, what defines art is the work a person put into it. How good the person, like, anything can be art, but anything can be bad art. Most people are amateurs. What defines art to me is when you see someone good doing something he's good at. Like a football player being the top of the top elite tier, watching that football player play is art to me, in my opinion. And for example, seeing a guy program a robot that can do this, that to me is, that guy is good. He did that shit in under a week, and he made this as a result. Well done. He deserves a prize. Now you can claim that he should win a programming prize and not an art prize. Fair enough, but because he thought in such an out-of-the-box way, I'd be tempted to say he deserves the win. He deserves the win. I know it's an asterisk at the end of the prize, but he deserves it. Also, like, I had a conversation with my friend exactly about this, so it's funny that you brought it up. That it is because I'm a designer and I'm an illustrator. And he said, how do you feel about art, robots being able to create art so effortlessly? Like, this robot could take my job potentially, or a version of this robot could take my job, where a person just walks up to me and says that they want Donald Trump riding a pony on the way to Valhalla. And I go like, oh, fuck, shit, okay, so I have to study the anatomy of ponies, I have to study the anatomy of Donald Trump, and you know that's going to take at least a month. Shit, okay, and then I have to research Valhalla. Oh boy, okay. And then if you write that shit down on a fucking what was it called? The Wally? I don't even remember the name of the program. If you write that shit down on one of these image,
you just literally type the words in, right, and then it searches stuff, and then
it's fun. It's done immediately. And the guy asked me, how do I feel about the potential of losing my job or having this level of competition in my job? And I said, to be honest, I'm not really that concerned, because I think that these works are not high quality enough to be used in high tier works. Like, these sort of concepts that you see here will only take away the jobs that that low-paying artists get, like that pay you poorly. Basically, what I'm saying is, imagine that you're making a concept for a TV show, and you need to make 3, 4, 5 panels so that the cinematographer or the director can feel like, I like the style of this, I like the colors of this, and I like the image of that. Do it again. Like, instead of spending so much time making they have a word for it, thumbnails, so that the director can have an idea of what he wants to make. It's easier just for the director to go to one of these programs and said, I want something sci-fi with blue. Give me something sci-fi with predominant color blue, and then the program gives him like 10 samples, and he's like, oh, I like this one. Like these sort of like quick on over the knee sketches. This robot will be really good. Conversely, if you're like a young band of an upstart punk rock band, but none of you guys are particularly good at logos or particularly good at making cover art, go to this website and write horse on fire fighting demon, and the program gives you like 30 images, and you just choose one, and it's fine. Like this program only takes jobs that I think illustrators and designers don't want to do. Of course.
Yeah, I'm generally speaking. I mean, when I was younger, I was like, "Oh, robots are taking jobs away." Like when you watch that movie, what is it, I, Robot or whatever, and I thought, "Oh, I guess that makes sense." But now that I have my own opinion, and like, I think it's retarded. That argument to me makes no sense. I think generally speaking, automation is good, and I think it is naive of people thinking that they can live their whole life and just do only one job and expect to only do that one job, and the world not to change, and for them not to have to adapt. And
but you actually touched on a point. I'm sorry to interrupt. That I explained myself poorly, and you said the word automation, and my brain just clicked. Which is, this robot thing fixes automation in design because it is needed. There's a huge demand for art, but not enough. There's not enough money to pay the artists for the amount of bullshit art that people want to make. So they use a lot of that. If you represent me, I'll pay you an exposure sort of bullshit.
Right, and also like that kind of art is probably not very interesting to do. Like I don't know.
Exactly, it's not.
I don't know, sketching like because someone has a whim. Like, oh, I need the same thing, but please make it blue with the triangles instead of squares. Yeah. I don't know, some bullshit like that. It's not engaging, right? It's not creative. You're not engaged in a creative process. You're just grinding.
And for example, the contest, the robot that won the contest, that art is beautiful, but I do not think it survives under scruple. Like in the future, now it is new. Like now everyone's talking about it. The robot won, and wow, that art is beautiful. But now that you kind of got the sense of it, I doubt that another robot will win an art contest anytime soon, because I think that the art style of a robot is very specific. Even if you go to DALL-E, which is the thing I was trying to remember earlier, the name of the program, like all the art that it makes or all the images that it creates, it has a very, very particular feel. I think it will create a new art school, which is the electronic art or the digital art, robotic art. I think that will be a whole movement based entirely on that. But I do not think that like companies because identity and brand are things that need to be studied. So a company, when they want art that appeals to their brand, to their colors, to their image. So it has to be something very, very calculated and made with a lot of detail and minutia. And I don't think these AI bots do that just yet. And I don't actually think they'll ever do it, because like I said, what they do is they see thousands of pieces of art, and they pick up details on all of them, and they kind of make this average of what is beautiful. And because that is technically imitation of art, that is the replication of art. And there is this theory in art theory that each time you replicate something, each time you imitate, art loses a little bit of value. So it will reach a breaking point where imitation after imitation after imitation, and this robot art will lose its value, will lose its time under the sun. Right now it's new and fresh and wow, exciting, but I do not think it will live long. These could be my famous last words before I'm unemployed, by the way, but I do think it won't last long.
No, you heard it here first, folks. New movement, robotic art, and then it will.
Oh, for sure, it will be a new art movement. That for sure.
But then it will become deprecated, because then AI will start imitating AI instead of imitating people, and then it's gonna. What does that mean? Like it's just AI regurgitating AI art, like, right? It's gonna use art like this, the one that won the contest, to make new stuff, and then maybe by accident it becomes normal again. Who knows? I don't know how it's gonna look like.
For example, King of Pain has said a few points here, so I'm going to bring them up. He said there's not enough creative juice to keep up with the demand. So he's talking about these AI bots. There's not enough creative juice in the AI bots to keep up with the demand. And most artists are perfectionists too. So when they make a piece, like for example, using that piece that won the contest, there was a lot of lacking detail there that an artist would just sink in and add more, not just painting wise, but add more meaning to it. Like when an artist draws, like for example, imagine that there's that huge scenery right there. When an artist draws like a bowl of dead fruit in a corner, that bowl of dead fruit has a meaning. The AI cannot put input meaning into an art piece. It can only put what it considers beautiful. Artists, however, do everything like on purpose. Like the story of was it Da Vinci? I might be confusing the artist right now because I'm streaming live and my brain turns into mush. But the dude that did the Sistine Chapel on his back, painting the roof with the man touching God. And supposedly there's this theory that behind God, the shape that God is in looks like a brain, a human brain. And that is the symbology that was Da Vinci's way. I'm not sure if it was Da Vinci or not, but I think it was.
I think it was Da Vinci, yeah.
Yeah, but it was a way of Da Vinci saying that there is no God. There is only the brain that created God. And all that symbology that he infused into the art piece, like subconsciously or discreetly, a robot cannot imitate. That is why artists, you're fine. Trust me, you'll be fine. No robot can create those pieces just yet. Of course, there will always be people that will input meaning into things that are basic. Like if you have a blank screen and then you put a red dot in the middle and you say, this represents the death of virtue. And like, okay, shut the fuck up. You just put a red dot in the middle of a white screen. That means nothing. We're lazy to paint the rest. But for the most part, I don't think robots will do what King is saying, that they will take the low demand jobs, the factory work, the things that are basically to be mass produced. And there is a need for that. There's not enough artists to do that sort of work. And thank God that they created an artist that can increase the level of imagery around the world. Because if you think about it, how many times have you seen a presentation that looks like it looks absolute shit because you just know that it was the cousin of someone who made that for him as a free work. Right now, those cousins, congratulations, you no longer need to do those shitty works. There's robots that will do it for you. That's perfect. That's where I want the world to be in.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing generally. Like backtracking a bit, what I was saying about the automation aspect and people like, you know, having to adapt and do more creative stuff. Because I don't know, like how fun is it for you to be, I don't know, like being a bread cutter? Maybe your job is to cut bread or sliced bread, not cutter, bread slicer. Like, I don't know, the other day I went to buy bread and there is an automatic slicing machine. Like, do you want to do that job? Like, do people actually want to do that? Isn't that boring? You're a cook, but okay,
I have to ask
as a cook. Like, you don't want to slice bread all day. You don't want that to be your job. You might slice bread like from time to time, but if you have a machine, use a machine. Why would you hire a person for that?
I have to ask you, did you actually find a machine that slices bread?
Yeah, in Lidl. Yeah, yesterday. I got it's yeah. Just put the bread in the machine and press it for you.
Yeah, it's like a saw machine, right? Because it's a big piece of bread. Okay. For some reason, I was thinking like cutting a croissant open and you needed a machine to do that. I was like, okay, come on, dude.
Yeah,
come on, use some effort.
Yeah, what is it? Is it bagels or scones that you need to open it with a fork? Yeah, I have a fork, a machine that opens stuff with a fork. It does it the proper way. No amateurs here.
Okay, yeah. King was saying there's proper bread slicing machines. They're common. Okay. For some reason, my brain was like, what? To cut open a slice of fucking white bread? Like to...
Yeah, but I mean, maybe it wasn't a good example.
No, it is. My brain is just stupid.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of work that is just repetitive, right? And why do you want to do that? Like, people like, oh, I'm going to lose my job. Yeah, but it should be doing something more interesting, more engaging, more creative.
Exactly.
I mean, unfortunately, the way the world is set up, it's like very much, people are cheap labor. Well, I guess we'll just get a cheap machine that do the same thing. But honestly, people should be doing more interesting stuff rather than just. Is that the Ford? The Ford was the guy who invented this stuff. Like once the Industrial Revolution began, they're like, okay, we have an assembly line, and then you just put the blue pip, and then you put the stick in, and then you glue them together, and like that's your job all day. Like does that want to make you live? Like that's horrible. It's a horrible job. I don't
For
think
sure,
anyone would want to do that.
No, but the thing is, we're thinking about, as specialists, we like to think that. So what if we lose 100,000 jobs? The automation is better, and yeah, it is. But the thing is, some people that work in those factories, they need it because they're not qualified to do anything else. And now you're saying, yeah, but they should then get they should educate themselves to do some other job, like the new job. But that thing is hard, man. Like getting. Because most of the people that do those jobs are like 60 or like close to 60 or close to 50, and telling them a new mechanic and how to make their money, how to make cash, that's cruel for them. Basically, you spend 50 years of your life cutting bread, and suddenly there's a machine that does it. Like, fuck, now I'm a 60-year-old man, and I need to find some other routes to make money. And that I sympathize with that.
I would go a little beyond that. I think we just have to rethink how our society is organized in order to, accommodate that, I suppose, and like the way the governments work. Well, but I don't know anything about politics. Like honestly, I think, but some things like I wish there was more education in certain aspects, so people. Like it's kind of sad that people are like, well, I get, what job are you looking for? And people just look at how much the job pays. They don't care what they do because all jobs are pretty much boring. They're all the same kinds of boring. There are very few
same
jobs
kind of administrative boring.
Yeah, there are not many people who do a job that they enjoy for the job they're doing. It's like they're stuck there because that's what they've been doing. That's what they know how to do. They're good at it, but most of the time it's just repetitive bullshit. Like it's not very engaging, I think.
Yeah, I do have a. And we also discussed this on the past podcasts about education being completely outdated. At least it was when I was in school. Like streaming has got me in touch with the children. I should probably have phrased that better, but I'm in touch with the youths. And it does seem like there is this awareness that coding and programming is important now. Is a new language that you should probably learn alongside like Portuguese or English or whatever. Because more often than not, like you're not going to be needing you don't need geometry and history as much as you need maths and programming. So, and I always defended that you need to learn how to make apps. Even if you're not like a multimedia, even if you are like a bread maker or whatever, knowing how to program might mean that you know how to make a machine that can cut breads automatically or something. Like using computers and everything is so ingrained now into society that if you want to be useful to society, the best and easiest thing you can do, and I say easy with in quotation marks, is learn programming. Because that shit.
The easiest path, right? The most the easiest path. You mean?
Yeah. At least the highest risk reward, to say, is like if you learn programming, it means that you are equipping yourself with a very, very, very powerful tool that can be used in any situation if you're creative and innovative enough to like. You can apply it on anything, to programming apps, to programming bread slicers, machinery, to automate work so that you don't need to pay for a clerk. Imagine that you have a store and you don't want to pay for a clerk to take the orders from your clients. Just have admittedly, it'll be a high cost maintenance at the start, at the beginning of the project, beginning of the business. But imagine that you have a robot that a person just goes up and clicks what they want, and the order goes to the chef, and the chef just cooks. Done.
What do you think about that, King of Pain? Anything like that in your line of work?
I mean, he is a chef, yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can go to your restaurant, click a button, and then the order goes directly to you. No need for a waiter. We just come to the kitchen and take the food. Thank you, Mr. Payne. Thank you very much. We'll give you feedback in a moment.
That's what McDonald's does. Like they have these servers outside of the main counter so that you can just click what you want and the order goes directly into the store. But that is an example. You can actually just develop an app, and people go to your app to ask for food, or like a lot of stores use Google, Uber Eats, and all that sort of shit. But Uber Eats obviously takes a cut of the profit because they use their own delivery service. But to be honest, learning programming gives any entrepreneur, any business, more options for revenue. It is just a useful language to have, and it should be as common as you learning Portuguese, English, and programming and coding. And then King says, I'm going to say something very controversial. Humans are basically biological machines, and like machines, have a more complex versions with more features and some budget models, with less features that will always diversify of jobs. So basically he's saying that there are jobs for... There's different types of models of humans, and you can just look at a human and say, this is a high quality human, or this is a low quality human, therefore he'll be the janitor human.
This is the model, that does a repetitive task, and this is the model that is more creative. Yeah,
the deluxe human, the premium human.
Well, it doesn't have to be deluxe or premium. It's just better suited or more interested in different tasks, right? Because not everyone. Maybe you could be very good at I don't know, selling houses, but maybe you hate selling houses. Like both things have to align, right? You have to want to do it, you have to enjoy to do it, but also you have to be kind of good at it. I mean, you can always improve to a certain degree, but if you have no desire to, like, you can only go so far, right? Because you won't make the extra effort.